70s disco, Le Freak by Chic. It's 2 minutes past 9 a.m. We're going to talk about conscious being, conscious parenting. Payal Khanna's in studio.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Hi, great to see you. How are you doing, Payal?
Very well. Thank you so much for having me here, Hrishikesh.
Lovely. This is a topic that's of particular interest to me, and I'm sure all those parents out there. What is conscious being and what is conscious parenting, Payal?
Okay, so conscious being and conscious parenting is basically being aware of yourself, being aware of your own feelings, being aware of your child's feelings. So basically what we do is we help the parents help themselves, and also how to effectively communicate with your children and to raise happy and confident children.
Which brings me to the next logical question, which is, how do you think we as adults, as parents, should deal with our kids?
Right. So basically, if you notice that we all, as parents, most of us are conditioned to deny our child's feelings, because we have been denied our feelings when we were growing up. So it comes very naturally to us. So say, for example, our child says that, Mama, I'm feeling scared. So it's a very natural response to say there's nothing to be scared of, or Mama, I'm in pain. And we say, don't be sissy, be strong, be brave, And if your child says, Mama, I'm tired, so we like, you couldn't be, you just napped. So constantly denying their feelings and telling them not to believe your own perceptions. Imagine how detrimental is this to their emotional health. So that's how we function.
Yeah, but also the common perception amongst parents is the fact that the child, because he or she is a child, adds a lot of drama to what they say. Right. And how do you know what is drama and what is real?
Alright, so that comes when you really get connected with your child. That's when you can actually make out the difference, whether the child is acting out or whether the child is really going through a trauma. For that, you really need to start connecting with your child. To begin with, you start reflecting what your child feels, to be a mirror of your child. So that's where it begins.
So when they say they're feeling scared, for example, since you said, they say, they feel scared.
Right.
What does one say instead of denying their feelings? Because saying what we normally say, which is, hey, nothing to worry about, nothing to be scared about, is denying of feelings, isn't it? So what is the alternative therein?
Right. So we say that I understand and Mama is there for you or Papa is there for you. I know it's a strong feeling that you're going through, and just stay with that. So the child knows that my Mama and Papa understands my inner experience and this is my safe space and what I feel is true. And it restores back the child's self-confidence and self-esteem.
Okay, we're streaming live audio online across the nation on www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in. We're also live on video, only if you're not driving, if you're in the backseat of a radio taxi or being chauffeur driven. Then catch us on video on facebook.com/radio1.mum. There's radio1.mum on Facebook, and of course live on your radio sets right here in Mumbai City, 94.3 in the FM band. Conscious being, conscious parenting with Payal Khanna. Back right after this Yes track. It's Owner of a Lonely Heart, 9:05. I'm Hrishikesh. Live 9:09, Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes, talking conscious being, conscious parenting with Payal Khanna this morning in the studio. More conversation.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Yeah, I was on a long overseas flight last night, and there's so many children crying on airplanes, and I realized that the people who tend to get most disturbed by children crying are the parents themselves. Not other people so much. You're always worried about making the right impression. Oh my God, what will people think? Are we disturbing people? Why is it so difficult for parents themselves to hear children cry? And why do they get all these feelings triggered off around their child crying?
True. So before I get on to explaining this, let me just cite an instance which just happened to me recently. So we were outside Phoenix, and my younger daughter happened to cry because that's the most natural form to release their emotions. And we were with a set of friends, and they were really, really embarrassed. And since I have dealt with my own feelings, I was okay about it, but generally that was quite a revelation for me, because this can get very, very pressurizing for the parents, when they see that people around them are looking at them and and the child is crying and not behaving in a certain way that they are meant to be, as per the societal norms. So it gets very pressurizing for the parents, and that's where they start conditioning their kids that this is not right. It's not right to cry out like this, Whereas they fail to understand that this is a most natural way for a child to release his emotions, that this is how the child will let go of whatever is built in. And now coming back to your question that, we as parents were always conditioned to deny our feelings. We never felt what we felt. So let me explain that with an analogy of a castle. Say our body is a magnificent, beautiful castle, and we are born with this beautiful castle with light in it. And imagine this castle having many, many rooms, and every room in this castle is perfect. People gave their opinions and judgments about the rooms, and we started shutting the doors of the castle. Example, the teacher said, "Stop bossing around." Parents said, "Look, the boss is coming." Sister said, "Mama, she's bossing over me," and we closed that door forever. But the feeling has to manifest somewhere, and most of the time our children act in a certain way that triggers us and brings that feeling which was suppressed. So suppose our child acts bossy, it triggers us and brings about that feeling that was suppressed. So where that's coming from. So we as parents need to introspect as where this is coming from.
So it seems to me that parents need to take care of themselves before they take care of children.
Of course, for sure.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So you give your own example from outside Phoenix.
Right.
More examples of the castle and the various rooms as far as your life is concerned?
Yeah. Very clearly, when my children get late for classes or for school, it used to make me very furious. And then I started understanding that it's not about them, it's about my own feelings and where it's coming from. So when I started working on my own feelings, I realized it was to do with my own childhood. So when I was growing up, I used to always take time to get ready, and these were things which were brought to my attention that I would always be late. So some way that feeling was there with me. And now when I see my children getting late, it brings about a trigger. So as parents, we really need to introspect where is it coming from. And there are different ways, different modalities how we can go about giving our feelings an outlet to release these feelings which have been built over the years. First is to identify them, and then is to release these, feelings. So parents can self-regulate and use various methods like journaling, scribbling, hitting the pillow, listening partnership, etc. And these things can help the parents feel centered around their children. So a little bit about journaling, because I use that all the time. Journaling is basically writing everything that you feel, you think, your thought, your beliefs, everything and anything. Even if you're angry and you feel like name calling, please go ahead and do it, because it's just you and your feelings, and there's nothing right or wrong about it. So just go ahead and do it, and you will see how relieved you feel once you've done that. And there are other modalities also, like listening partnership, where you can just pick the phone and call your partners, where the other partner doesn't judge you and doesn't give you any advice or solution, just listens to you, and you come out with your own solution. You'll see the beauty of this is that by the end of it, you will derive your own solution.
If you have any questions or comments, happy to read them out on air like I always do. On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's at HRISHIKAY. Facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. You could pop it on the timeline inbox. One space your comment or one space your question and your name to 53650. 53650 is the in-studio SMS line. So anything on parenting, on conscious parenting, conscious being with Payal Khanna. We're going to take some messages and come back. See you in a bit. I'm Hrishikesh.
94.3 Radio 1.
Mick Hucknall, Simply Red is his band, a fabulous one called Stars. At 9:25 in the morning with Payal Khanna in studio talking conscious being, conscious parenting. One of your questions now on Twitter.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
So this is Anurag Iyer, Payal, and he says kids wish to sometimes do similar things like adults, wanting to put makeup or nail paint. Should they be allowed? That's Anurag's question.
Okay. Hi, Anurag. Thank you for your question. So, children generally imitate the parents for everything. We are role modeling them. So there's no right or wrong. We have to see what goes well with us. We as parents need to set limits for our children. So, if you are okay with that, so go ahead with that. And now that you've asked that question, that clearly means that you're not okay with them putting nail paints, etc. So, you have to set a limit with them. You have to engage them in cooperation. You need to tell your child how you feel about it. You have to give them clear information of how damaging this could be. Like again, I said, I will not be able to give you answers directly, but I can give you broad lines as how you can engage them in cooperation. You can tell them by giving information. You can tell them how you feel about it and how damaging this could be for them. Also, it would be great if you could add the age, so it would help me help you better.
Yeah, actually, maybe you should have added your age in there. We'll come back to that if you can send the age in, Anurag. But basically, let me get what you're saying. You're saying that some so-called liberal parents would turn around and say it's okay if a child plays with some lipstick or nail polish in front of the mirror. Other more traditional, stricter parents in the conventional scheme of things would turn around and say, hey, you're too young if you're 6 years old or 7 years old to masquerade as a painted up diva. Right? So each parent, has to set their own limits depending on how they want to bring up their child.
Of course.
Okay, I've got that now. Let's come back to what we were talking about last, which is how parents can take care of themselves, and a corollary to that, which is how can the parent help children deal with their feelings.
Right. So like I said, once the parent feels centered with himself, then the parent understands when the child is crying, the child is not creating a problem, the child is going through a problem. So then you see the child as a separate individual and the feelings of the child as a separate, entity. And then you're ready there. Once you have taken care of your own feelings, you're ready to take care of your child's baggage.
Okay, so you're saying because you've established a connection, now whether they're crying out of pain or crying out of drama.
Right.
Crying out of drama, you can still, clamp down upon, get a little strict about. But if it's actual crying, then, therein you reach out to them and you comfort them.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we engage children into cooperation? That's my next theme of discussion. Payal.
So children cooperate the most when they feel connected. When we let go of control, when we stop parenting them, that's when they feel connected. So my suggestion would be stop parenting them and start playing with them, And generally, how do we, control them? We use threats, we use warnings, we use sarcasm, lectures, etc. But do you really think these things help? They don't. So to engage them into cooperation, like I just mentioned to Anurag, we could describe what we see or describe the problem. Generally what happens is if the child, breaks something, for example, we as parents, we only focus on the problem, not on, we as parents generally we focus on the child who's created the problem, like why did you do this and, whatever, X, Y, Z, whatever. But in our skills, when we engage them in cooperation, we focus not on the child who has done it. So there's no blame game, because when we blame, the child starts to defend himself. Here we don't say you did this or you did that. We clearly describe the problem. Then the child can be helpful and can think through the solution.
Don't shoot the messenger. Imbibe the message. Important. Okay, we're going to take some music and come back. Yes, Bon Jovi, have a nice day. Conscious Being, Conscious Parenting with Payal Khanna. If you want to see some videos, we're live on Twitter now at HRISHIKAY. Online audio across the nation, www.onecast.in, numeral 1 CAST.in. And of course, on your radio sets on 94.3 in the FM band right here on Radio 1 in Mumbai. See you in a bit. Bon Jovi, have a nice day. 9:32. And Anurag Iyer just replied saying that his daughter is 5 years old, and for those of you who tuned in late, he was talking about his 5-year-old child wanting to put on makeup and nail paint. Well, this is amazing because we have a 5.5-year-old, Anurag, and from personal experience, I had a very, fairly disciplined, strict upbringing, and my wife had a very liberal upbringing, and Our daughter went through a phase when she used to sit in front of the mirror and also do that, put a bit of lip gloss on. And I used to get really perturbed about it. My wife said, listen, just chill out. As long as she's not wearing all this stuff and going out, she's just playing with it for a while. So I let it go. So like Payal said, there's no right or wrong. You have to set your own definitions, and you have to separate the child's need from your needs. So you have to actually look into, like she said, whether you're doing this out of your own interest and your own upbringing, or you're looking at the problem in isolation. So you have to look at the problem in isolation. More conversation.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
Yeah, so you want to continue talking about how we engage children into cooperation, and then you can go into alternatives to punishment. I mean, back in the day, I don't know, a lot of us went to, for example, very strict boys' schools, boarding schools,
Right.
Convents, where punishment was meted out almost through caning, through forms of physical punishment. Now, parent-teacher associations will take you to court if you scream at their child in school. So the definitions of punishment have also changed therein. So let's talk about that. More engaging children into cooperation and the alternatives to punishment.
Right. So let me come back to cooperation, because there are a couple of things more that I would like to convey on that. So say, for example, your child is had a banana and just threw the peels. So we give information instead of again asking questions. So we tell them that the banana peel belongs to the garbage, and trying and talking to children with words, because as parents we like to give them long summons, and the shorter the reminder, the better it is. Also, it's very, very important to be authentic with how we feel, like I spoke about earlier, and to describe that to your children. Because when you really take care of your own feelings, and your children then follow suit. So in case your child says, Mama, you're rude, you tell your child, I don't like being called rude, so convey that to your child, that I don't like being called so and so. Instead of making comments on the child's character, you tell the child that I don't like, these things being done in a certain way. Or you write a note. We all love notes, don't we? I mean, we love to be sent a note. Our children love it too, and they really, really respond to them. Like my little one, she didn't want to brush, and every day it's a task to get her to brush. So then I used this skill. I just put up a note on the mirror in the bathroom, and I said, hello, I'm your brush, and if you could use me, with a big smiley. And there she goes, she's happily going out there and brushing her teeth. So that's how engaging children into cooperation works. Like, you can bring in a lot of flavor with fun, and they really thrive on playfulness.
So alternatives to punishment, let's move to that.
Okay. So before we go that, let me ask you, Hrishikesh, like if you were ever punished, and what feelings were you left with?
That I did something wrong, overwhelming guilt.
Yeah.
So and also a sense of being wronged. So those are things, one always goes through as far as punishment is concerned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So those feelings always stay, and now consciously as a parent, we are going to break that pattern. We are not going to inflict pain on our children. Why do we do that? Why do we deprive our child, of something in order to teach them a lesson? Do you think it really works? No, it doesn't. It only leaves them with this feeling, which is, going to hamper their self-growth and confidence for the lifetime. So how do we deal with this? If it's a repeated behavior, if your child is really troubling you with something, and your child is, say above age 3 or so, then you can really problem solve with them. You can sit and talk to your child. Talk to your child about how your child feels around that particular thing. What are your child's needs? Try and understand from your child's perspective. Again, when you're talking to your child, don't be judgmental, don't question, don't give any explanation. Just zip your mouth and listen to your child. As parents, it's so difficult for us to tune into our children and to actually listen to them with complete attention, And then after that, talk about your feelings, because it's very important for the child to know how we feel around this whole situation, to be authentic about how we feel, and then brainstorm for a mutually agreeable solution. Write down all ideas without evaluating, and then what you could do is both of you could decide on solutions which you would like, and which you don't like, and then which you plan to follow through.
So essentially talk to the child as opposed to talking down. For example, you were saying, yeah?
Let me give my own example. Like I spoke about my child getting late and for watching TV. Recently me and my daughter, my older one, we worked upon this. Like, she wanted to watch TV, and I get disturbed when they watch too much of TV and too much of electronic. So we said, all right, she's 8 years old, and we said, let's problem solve. So I told her that these are my concerns with TV, and she said, Mama, I would like to watch television for a certain amount of time. I said, fair enough. She spoke about her needs and I spoke about my needs, and then we brainstormed, and then we came to a solution where she could watch TV for about 4 times in a week, so either...
This is the child aged how much?
8 years old.
So you can start dialoguing as early as that, and
much earlier. So I used to do problem solving with her when she was 5 years old. So this was very recent, so I thought, let me just cite that. And so it's Saturday, Sunday, 30 minutes, and twice a week she came up 15 minutes and 15 minutes, which I was okay with. And then you make sure you stick to it, and then you go back to it. You follow through it.
One space your query and named 53650 on SMS. Any question or comment, happy to read it out on air. On Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you go to the search bar, you type HRISHIKAY, I will pop up. Facebook.com/radio1.mum, our official page. Drop a comment or a question in the timeline inbox. I will bring it up on the show. See you in a few minutes. It's 9:39. I'm live. You can see a live video only if you're not driving on Instagram at HRISHIKAY. We're still streaming audio online across the nation, wherever you are in India. www.onecast.in, numeral 1cast.in. 94.3 on the FM band on your radio set. See you in a bit.
94.3 Radio 1.
Clean Bandit Symphony along with Zara Larson on vocals at 9:47. It is Payal Khanna talking conscious being, conscious parenting. More conversation.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
Another question from personal experience. There are lots of things that I want to tell my 5.5-year-old, and she responds with, I already know that. For example, she's not been on a plane before, but if I tell her that, she needs to put up the tray, she immediately says, I already know that.
Right.
And it sometimes freaks you out, because you say, hey, if she says that to a teacher in the future,
Right.
the teacher might freak out or think less of her and say, who's this know-it-all kid? It's okay if she says it to parents. So you try to deliver a life lesson, and it's like, Dad, I know it. So what's your response or your thought as far as that is concerned?
All right. So one would be definitely that if your child says that, you need to, see where this is coming from. And how does this make you feel, Hrishikesh? Like when she says this all the time, how do you feel about it?
Yeah,
I
feel worried and scared what's going to happen in the future when she does that out in the world.
Right.
You want to protect your child, right?
Right,
Yeah.
of course. So as a parent, that's a prime concern. So one is that you need to separate your need, like we spoke about it earlier, from your child's need. Definitely we'll take care of, setting limits for your child also. But before that, we need to take care of where this is coming for you. Why do you feel worried or scared around this whole situation? So you need to go back and figure that out, because if you're getting worried and scared, you cannot co-regulate your child. So first you need to self-regulate yourself around this whole situation, and then co-regulate your child. Again, setting limits would be talking to your child, which we spoke about, and acknowledging your child's feelings around this whole situation. If your child feels in a certain way, you stay with it, and then when the child is calmer, you can tell the child how to deal with this in another way which you feel is right.
Okay, Pooja Punjabi on Twitter. Children see role models in their parents and their teachers. What if they're given two different teachings, one from the parent, one from the teachers? How to deal with their confused state of mind?
Alright, so this happens most of the time. It could be your peers and your family and different set of opinions all the time. So one is definitely to acknowledge your child's confused state, to stay with that and let the child talk, So when we really let the child talk, the child will really open up, and that's where you build a connect. And then, like I said, when the child is calmer, when the child has really expressed what he felt, you could give, your suggestions or your point of view. Again, I truly believe that the child can come through his own solution. So stay away from giving advices and solution. Believe that your child is complete. They're connected to their gut. It's we as parents, as adults, who condition them all the time. So stay away from
You
that.
said that off the mic, and I want to bring that on the mic. You said that everybody is born complete.
Exactly.
And that's a very
and
telling
they can
point.
manifest anything and everything, which I truly believe in. So please let them be. Okay,
on SMS 53650, the SMS line, your last four digits are 8575. You haven't given your name. My cousin's twin kids, aged 2 years, saw someone spitting, and they've now developed a habit of spitting. How can the parents tell these children they're only 2 years old?
Right. So very clearly they're 2 years old and they are having fun. They're trying to explore a lot of things in life. But yes, certain actions are limited. So if they really want to spit, as parents, you maneuver them, you take them to the washroom, into the basin, and tell them, you feel like doing this action, go ahead, take water and spit. So, they just want to have fun. They just want to experiment with everything. So let them do it. Let them feel everything. But of course, you need to give them direction, So go ahead, let them have fun, take them to the washroom and let them have fun.
Girls, the new one by Rita Ora, Charlie XCS and Cardi B. We're going to come back and talk about the last leg, which is really important, so hang by for that. How can we encourage autonomy, praise and self-esteem, freeing children from playing roles, and a final word from Payal Khanna on conscious being, conscious parenting. If people want to enroll in your workshops, is there an email that they can write to? Is there a point of contact?
Yeah. So my email address is Payal, Payal, @polcoindia.com. That's POLCO India.com. And my phone number is 98215 77843. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's girls, and back for the last leg. Charlie XCS, Rita Ora, girls, 9:55. Last leg of conversation with Payal Khanna, talking conscious parenting, conscious being.
This is Good Morning Mumbai with Hrishikesh.
Radio 1.
So how can we encourage autonomy, and how do we go about praise and building self-esteem?
Great. So what is autonomy? Basically, autonomy is to self-regulate, right? When parents don't let children do things for themselves, in the name of love, the child feels dependent. We have the best of intentions for them, but the message we give them, the underlying message is, you can't manage yourself. Giving autonomy is letting the child experience his own power. So say, for example, your child gets up in the morning and says, Mama, what color pants should I wear? So you say, what do you think? Let the child decide. Let the child take the initiative. Let him make his own choices, So grey pants or red pants, let him decide. Half glass of milk or full glass, let the child decide. It might seem inconsequential, but when we give the choice to a child, it gives them an opportunity to exert a lot of control over their lives. Then, when they have made a choice, they take responsibility for their choice. And as parents, the most important thing is that we should do everything and anything to build the self-worth of the child. Also, when the child is struggling to do something, so then acknowledge it first. Say, for example, your child is trying to open a jar. You have to see whether your child can really open it or not, because as a parent, you can gauge whether your child is capable or not to do that job at a particular age. Instead of telling them, give me the jar, I'll open it for you, you can say that the jar is hard to open. Sometimes it can help if you tap the jar, or whatever you feel would be the approach to opening the jar, or tying the shoelaces, putting up your pants, or whatever it could be. So you have to really show respect for your child's struggle. So these are ways where you can encourage autonomy.
And praise and self-esteem?
Okay, so for praise and self-esteem, we think as parents, we think that the child will improve if we pointed out what's wrong with him. But when we tell him what's right, that's when the child wants to improve. We are quick to criticize and very, very slow to praise. Now, when we really praise the child will be motivated to be more cooperative. The whole world is telling them what's wrong with them. We as parents, we have to tell them what's right with you. Our child's self-esteem is too valuable to be entrusted to anyone else.
And also, I find that parents are constantly getting their children to play roles. I mean, it's okay to take them to a mall and get them to do some role playing, but in real life, how can we free children from playing roles, Payal?
Right. So mostly what happens is we think if we tell the child what's wrong with them, the child will improve. If we call them a liar, we think that will help him to become honest. Or if we call them how dumb, and then we think he'll become smart. Actually speaking, child's improvement is based upon treating him the way we want him to be. If your expectations are low, trust me, your child's aspiration will follow suit. Look for opportunities to show your child a new picture of himself or herself. So in your head, you need to identify what role your child has already been casted into by adults, by yourself. So also a lot of times we think a certain way about our child. We cast our child into a certain role. We start judging our child. So the child automatically starts playing out that role. So we have to be very, very cautious of that, because
you're always afraid of too much praise because you feel they might end up being cocky and overconfident kids, and that'll be a problem in an organizational structure eventually when they get jobs.
Right.
So you're again saying that could be a victim of our own fears.
True. So again, like you rightly said, and in these cases when the child is not done very well in a certain area, you need to bring that to light and say it's okay not to do well, because they need to know the balance. It's all right to be, why do we have to build up that pressure of doing well all the time? We do that for ourselves all the time. Now coming back to roles, say for example, in our mind, we have casted our child to be in a role of being careless. So we have to consciously start putting them in a role where, they could show themselves or see themselves of being responsible. Also, let the child hear you say something positive about them. Model the behavior you like to see. So these are ways which will help the child to see himself in a different role. And most importantly, it's the parent's job to communicate to the child that they are fine human beings whose feelings and ideas have values.
So your final word would be?
My final word would be to my listeners that celebrate yourself, celebrate your child every single day.
Up ahead, T20 Premier League action, considering the exciting final last night, and also some interesting, exciting, captivating finance stuff coming up for you guys. Don't go anywhere. Payal, thank you for your time. Cheers.
I want to say thanks to you.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
So thank you, Hrishikesh, for having me over. Very quickly, I'm grateful to Dr. Ginot, Adele Faber, Lion Maslish, Leena, Dipali, Devina, Jayenga, Reshma, Rohit, my daughters Ashvika, Kavisha, Barepa, Bari Mama, Subhash, Madhu, Veena, Ashok, Meenu, Vinod, Anchal, Purva, Rajat and Vidhi. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Sweet. Messages and back.
94.3 Radio 1